I know a lot of people think I'm in my beanie or hat era. Honestly, I just want to hide my horrible hair right now. I can't be bothered to get a cut just yet. I will go sometime this week to get a cut because it really needs it. Anyway, welcome back. I decided to do a 4 horror novellas reading vlog today. I realized I was doing a lot of series binges the last few weeks. As much as I love doing that, I kind of just want to read something else. And I haven't really read any horror so far this year, and I really want to. My biggest moods right now are adult fantasy and horror, but I barely scratched that horror itch in 2024 so far. So I decided to read 4 horror novellas. So I currently own 3 of the ones I want to read in this vlog. And I'm going to head to my library and I want to pick a surprise 4th one. I'm just going to see what the library has, and if they have one that catches my eye on the shelf, I'll get it. Because that's fun. This is the kind of fun I have as an adult. So what am I going to read in this video? On my TBR in this video I have The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle. This one I think follows a guy who deals in occult books and he meets a sorceress in New York City, and I think this book might open up to different worlds, like it brings horror into this world or something like that. This is a fun little game as well. How wrong do I get the summaries of these books before I read them? So when I actually read them, I'll let you know if it's true or not. I could literally be making this shit up and you'd believe me because I'm a good bullshitter. Excuse me. People, I think a magazine said this ingenious recasting of an H.P. Lovecraft classic is as creepy as it is thought-provoking. I've never read H.P. Lovecraft in my life. I did try and read a cosmic horror last year that I think was either inspired by Lovecraft or Lovecraft was inspired by it. Can't remember which way around it goes. And it kind of confused me, so hopefully I don't get confused reading this. I also have Nothing But Blackened Teeth by Cassandra Khaw. I've heard very mixed things, probably more negative than I have positive, but I've owned this for about 2 years now and I really do want to give it a try. All I know is that it follows a group of people who are trying to find a wedding venue. Yeah, I would probably say like 80% of the people I know haven't liked this one. I like to be different, who knows, maybe I might like it. Then I also have Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. This is a newly acquired novella because I've heard great things about it. A couple of my friends absolutely love it and gave it 5 stars. This one I believe follows a mother who has lost her son, and at his memorial she pricks her finger and some blood goes on the memorial and then she starts seeing his ghost or something like that. My friend online just shared on her Instagram story the new cover of The Day of the Doe by Laurel Hightower, which looks pretty good actually. I'm actually really interested in maybe reading some of this author. So if I enjoy this one, I will check out more of their works. I believe there was another one called Below that I could have picked for this video, but Crossroads just like shouted out a little bit louder for me, so that's what I'm going with. And then yeah, the 4th book will be whatever I get from the library. So let's go to the library. It has just started raining. Great. Okay, it says light rain is expected to stop in 18 minutes. That's very specific. So in 18 minutes we will go to the library and check out our mystery 4th book. And if you do end up enjoying this video, please do give it a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Ash, I'm a little bit scared of you being there, Baba. Can you get out? Can you get out? Oh, I don't believe him alone. Oh my god, Ash. Oh my god, Ash. Oh, freaking hell. Oh my god, don't do that again.
If you're a lover, you should know the lonely moments just get lonelier the longer you're in love than if you were alone. Memories turn into daydreams, become a taboo. I don't want to be afraid. The deeper that I go, it takes my breath away. Soft hearts, electric souls, heart to heart and eyes to eyes. Is this taboo? Baby, we built this house on memories. Take my picture now, shake it till you see it. And when your fantasies become your legacy, promise me a place in your house of memories. I think of you from time to time, more than I thought I would. You were just too kind, and I was too young to know. That's all that really matters. I was a fool. Baby, we built this house on memory.
It's a few hours later and I did accidentally stumble into town and into Forbidden Planet, Traveling Man and Waterstones. So let's take a moment of silence for everyone who has ever accidentally stumbled into 3 bookshops and bought books. So I'm just going to take a second to forgive myself. That was deep. So I did go to my library. You will have already seen which book that I picked, but there were only really 4 options that I could have chosen. And to be honest, I think only one of them really fit the bill for this vlog. So I did get the 4 off the shelf, sat down, and I decided to just let Goodreads decide. So I wanted to see which one sounded better via Goodreads. So there was one called the Father Cotton Chronicles, right? And this is really weird, right? Because it came out in 2008, and on Goodreads, it has a 0.00. There are 0 reviews, 0 ratings, and I scoured the internet as well. The only review I could find was an anonymous 5-star review from 2009 on Amazon. It was a Kindle customer giving it a 5-star review, and that is the only review in, 15 years of this book. And you know what, I was thinking, as intriguing as this elusive novella is, I don't know what I feel about it. Like, how does it have 0 ratings and 0 reviews on Goodreads? Like, it just doesn't make sense to me. So something was a little bit fishy there, so I left that one. So there's also Hex by Jenny Fagan, and that one had a 3.87 on Goodreads, but that one didn't look like it was actually horror. It looked more like it was historical, maybe a little bit gothic more than horror, but I was looking for horror. So even though that one had the highest Goodreads rating, it was a skip, unfortunately. I mean, I might check it out some other time. And then there was also Susan Hill's Printer's Devil Core, which is just a short story. It gets a 3.20 on Goodreads, and I just didn't really fancy a Susan Hill short story, to be honest. So really the only option for me was The Pale House Devil by Richard Kadrey, and that one has a 3.73, so not too bad, but not as high as Hex. But it actually does fit the bill because apparently it is horror. That is one of the main genres of it, so I did end up checking it out. So this will be the 4th horror novella I will read for this video, and I did actually make a start on this in the library cafe. I got 3 chapters read. So this one follows 2 guys. One of them is undead, the other one is alive and kicking, but he kills the undead, and they work together. They have these kind of assassination hits and stuff. So we start off with them doing a job where it ends very messily. So they've kind of now left town. And it's so intriguing so far as well because the undead are treated unfairly, and there was like this scene on a train where you could really see the discrimination against undead. Even though the undead seem to be able to walk and talk and act kind of normal. So it'll be intriguing to see if we actually explore like what makes the undead different. I mean, they're dead, but like, do they not attack people? Do they not eat brains and stuff, you know? So I'm looking forward to seeing if we discover more on that. So far intrigued because I believe they're now heading somewhere else. And the 3rd chapter had this really weird creature thing. There'll be no spoilers in this, but there was like this really weird creature thing. And some of the author blurbs on the back call it like a mix of Lovecraftian horror and pulp noir. So that sounds really good. Like Haunted House Terror and Private Eye Noir. But yeah, I was a little bit underwhelmed by the horror novella selection, but it was still a nice little outing in my library. Let's continue with my first read. Just use my phone for this update, so I apologize if it doesn't sound that great. It's fine. I've just finished The Pale House Devil, and I mean, I don't really think this was horror exactly. Like, yeah, there is a creature that seems quite scary, and there was some scary visuals, like Pale House, and even then there was a house before that they keep referring to as Fort Knox, where this old guy has hired them, and like there are these corpse scarecrows that are like outside of the house, and yeah, stuff like that can be quite scary, and some of the visuals, as I say, like quite scary. But I don't know, I feel like it kind of missed the mark for me a bit. With it being a novella, it took about 70 pages for them to even get to where they're supposed to be on this new mission that they're now on. So there is the Pale House. It is this old guy's old family home, and this woman called Tilda is the one who initially like got them and then got them to this place, and she is the, I think, granddaughter it was of the old guy who's hired them. And it really does take a long time to get into it, and I think with it being a novella, like you really do need to cut out a lot of the fat and just get straight to the point. And the thing is though that this book really tries with characterization, and I don't think it really works because you're not given enough time to actually care for characters in, say the two main characters, they have known each other for a while and they do work well together. And I do kind of like their chemistry to a certain extent. And then you add like another new character in Tilda, and I'm supposed to care about anything that she's supposed to be going through, or, you know, anything she's already done. You know, I don't really feel attached, which is really hard in a novella, I understand. So let's not try and force the character narrative. Let's just get straight into the story. But unfortunately, I do think the story is quite lackluster because there is some kind of demon in the Pale House, and this is what the two main characters have been hired to get rid of. And okay, but because it takes such a long time for them to even come face to face with this thing, it just feels so underwhelming. Yeah, I think that's what I feel. I just feel very underwhelmed with this one. The writing was absolutely fine. The atmosphere, yeah, sometimes did feel good, but I think because of the pacing, I couldn't really find myself immersed in what was going on. It was just a little bit of a hard one to get into, unfortunately. But I mean, at least I loaned it from the library, so it's not like I really had any financial stakes in this one. But I just really wouldn't call it. Like, it even says on the back here, V. Castro said, a fast-paced ride of a horror novella. I'm just like, was it really a horror? Lovecraftian horror and pulp noir. I'm just like, maybe I'm just not a Lovecraftian kind of person, because maybe it, but then again, it didn't even really feel like cosmic horror. Maybe like more sci-fi kind of horror, but even then I don't even think it explored that far. I don't know. All I know is I wasn't the biggest fan of this one. I'll probably give it 2 stars. It didn't offend my eyes. I feel like it was fine. It just didn't really meet my expectations as a horror novella. So the first one of this video kind of sucks a little bit. I'm a little bit disappointed. But you know what? I'm so hungry right now. Oh my gosh. I've been so good all week. So... I mean, it's Monday, so... But I mean, like, all last week, I was really, really good. I didn't order or anything. So what I might do... There is a shop literally just 2 seconds from where I live. Like, the shop is pretty much right outside my house, but they have the best Indian food. And so I think what I might do is order a curry to collect. I know, that's terrible. That's so terrible of me. But you know, at least I'll be walking. I'll be walking to pick it up. I mean, again, it'll take me 30 seconds to get there. I'm still getting some exercise out of it, and I've been out and about today too. So, are you gonna let me off? Are you gonna let me off today? Look, it's Monday. It's the start of a week. Let's start this week off well. Look, I've read a 2-star book, and that's probably a little bit generous too. Maybe it's more a 1.5 to me, but I don't think it was bad. I was just underwhelmed and didn't really feel like it was actually my thing. Like, you know what, let's just order. I think it's like 9 p.m. now, and I'm starving, absolutely starving. But the thing is, what do I get though? Do I get chicken tikka masala, which I love, or do I get chicken korma, which is another thing I love? And I know, very basic bitch of me. Oh, decisions.
Hiya, Tobu. Hiya, booty man.
As you see, it's still pretty deep. I mean, if there was a chance to do that, I'd definitely have our bands on, that's for sure.
Literally let me read. Look, you're looking down in shame because you know, I just want to read. I've been really trying to recapture some of the essence of when I feel like I was the happiest on BookTube. And I think maybe around about like, I think 2022, like 2 years ago, was probably my favorite time of being a booktuber. So I'm trying to like reclaim that essence. Well, I would say like late 2021 to 2022. And mainly like the height of that is like when I left work to do booktube full time. And it was like around about that era that I felt the happiest. So I thought, you know what, let's just go back to some of those videos. Let's just watch a little bit of it just to see what it is that I kind of want to bring in myself in these videos now. So I ended up watching... I didn't watch all of it because the hair was terrible, and I ended up watching the introduction to a video I did in October 2021, and that was reading BuzzFeed's most traumatizing books or something like that, and my hair in that video was absolutely disgusting. And it's never been that long since. And I'm kind of worried now that I'm going to end up looking like that again. So I'm going to go and get my hair cut after this update. I've just washed it and I am wearing this from yesterday because when the barber cuts my hair, the hair will go everywhere and I'm going to have to change anyway. So I might as well just wear this again and then go in the shower when I come back from the barber's and change. So that's why I'm wearing this again, okay? Although there will never be shame from me for anyone who wears their clothes 2 days in a row because I do it all the time. Anyway, before I get my hair cut, I have finished The Ballad of Black Tom by Victor LaValle. And I definitely prefer this one over the first book I read, which was The Pale House Devil. And I will say though, I still wasn't terrified by this. I think when magic is involved or anything like that, or like the supernatural, I just don't find it that scary. But I will say this was brilliantly written. And I've never read the H.P. Lovecraft original, The Horror at Red Hook. And I don't think I ever will. There is an afterword at the end of this book that goes through Victor LaValle's like reasoning for writing this story and the inspirations by it. And I love the fact that he was mentioning about like, he wasn't exactly inspired by Lovecraft to write the story, but he wanted to do a sort of response to his original story. So that's kind of what The Ballad of Black Tom is. It's more of a response to the original than it is, I guess, a reimagining of it. But just hearing about Victor's background into writing this was really great, actually. And oh my god, like the stuff he says about H.P. Lovecraft as well. So like Victor used to love H.P. Lovecraft when he was like younger, but then got angry with him as a teen and an adult when he found out about all of the awful overt racism that H.P. Lovecraft kind of embodied in his real life too. Victor mentioned a story about H.P. Lovecraft about how, you know, H.P. Lovecraft would be walking down the street and then there would be a black person on the sidewalk or something, and H.P. Lovecraft would literally walk into the middle of the road just to avoid walking anywhere near anyone black. And honestly, I shouldn't be shocked because of the amount of racism that was in this book too, and how this is predominantly a response to H.P. Lovecraft's original work. Yeah, I just shouldn't have been shocked. Oh, and also the summary I mentioned of this book, I feel like I totally missold it. I mean, there is some things to do with like the occult in a book and stuff, but the actual main story of this, it follows Tommy, and he is a street musician, and one day this white man comes up to him and wants to pay him to play at his house, like his mansion. And it's a really weird mansion as well. When Tommy goes inside it, it does seem like the dimensions aren't quite right. There is something a little bit fishy about the whole thing, and it does go into, I think, more cosmic horror, which is where it kind of lost me a little bit. Like, I loved the themes and the messages that this book portrayed. I thought it was done really well. I think this was beautifully written. But when it comes to like cosmic horror, I genuinely just don't think it's for me. This is now like the second time that it's kind of been brought up in a book that I've read, and I don't think it does anything for me. But the character of Tommy was really incredible actually, because we do have such a short book, you know, it's only like 150 pages, and yet you could still feel his emotions. And I love how music was tied into the narrative. There were several instances of, you know, descriptions and paragraphs that really tied into like music and ballads, and I love the fact that it made it feel a lot more melancholy at times, and it really added to the atmosphere. There is a narrative shift in the middle of this book too, and yeah, it was interesting, and I feel like that's probably where the original story kind of more comes into play because of what we're told in the afterword. And I'll not say because of spoilers and things, but again, like that's quite eye-opening too. And it's actually where it starts to get a little bit more gory and a little bit more graphic in that segment also. I feel like the first half of this book was a lot more like suggestive and creepy, but then the second half of this book felt a little bit more direct and grisly, if that makes sense. So all in all, I think I would give this 3. Honestly, huge props for the writing because it was fantastic. But yeah, I just don't think the cosmic horror side of things is really my forte. And if anything, this has just made me realize that I will never ever read H.P. Lovecraft. But I am open to reading stories that respond to his stories, or maybe reworks them in like a sort of modern day lens. I think that would be really awesome to read, but I just don't think that genre is for me. You know what I think I'm gonna do? Is I might end up nipping to the cafe that's near me. I'll have a little walk down. It's such a nice day outside actually. It's still quite cold, but you know, the sun is out. It's 9 degrees Celsius. Like, we're being spoiled today. And I kind of just want to read outside of the house. All I've been doing for the past like 3 weeks is read pretty much everything inside the house, and I'm getting really bored of that. So I think I might actually read Nothing But Blackened Teeth next by Cassandra Khaw, but I will also take Crossroads down with me by Laurel Hightower, just in case I do finish this relatively quickly and I have time to dive into another. I should have listened. I'm so sorry to the people who love this book or like it, or like just remotely have like feelings towards this book. I apologize. It wasn't for me. Me and garbage do not go well together. I'm kidding. That was a little bit too extreme. But I will say that the sudden onset IBS that I've been experiencing lately has definitely been a more pleasant experience than me reading this. Okay, so the main issue that I think I have with this book is the characters. I really couldn't stand them. And the writing is so clunky. Their dialogue was pretty god-awful, I'm not gonna lie. They were trying to be so self-aware, and you know when you just have to roll your eyes at how many times the characters break the fourth wall? That was me. Like, even at one point, one of the characters shouted at the other one, oh, you're the all-star quarterback. You're the bisexual one. You're the one that's gonna survive the horror movie because you're white. Everything was too obvious. Everything was too direct. And for the first 59 pages of this, all it was characters having dialogue with each other, telling us their backstory or telling us about the messy romantic relationships that have been happening, and I just couldn't care. They're looking for a venue for Talia, who wants to get married in a haunted house, which, I mean, you do you. I love going to haunted houses myself, and I even love reading haunted house stories, even if they are a little bit cliche. But the thing is though, this was a little bit too cliche, because even the plot goes in a direction you can predict yourself. You probably wrote this kind of story yourself at 12 years old. It's just so convenient how the story progresses, how it ends, and by that point I was out. Literally, I was walking out of the cafe. Yeah, listen to this on page 62. So one of them says, I don't give a shit about those idiots. I bet my teeth nice, real nice. Those were your groomsmen. I had a bigger stuff and so whatever. They'd be spare, but that isn't the fucking point. Kat, this is literally the part where the supporting cast dies horribly. You're bisexual, I'm the comic relief. It's going to be one of us. That has to be the biggest joke, right? You, the comic relief. There was nothing funny about this, and not really anything too scary either, because the writing was so clunky that whenever something scary did happen, the characters would open their mouths and fucking ruin it. There were some good moments. There was, on page 60, the lights go out. I mean, shaken. Absolutely shaken. There are some visuals of, you know, actually I feel like I could visualize the ghost looking exactly like this. There were some good little moments of description. She hid nothing this time, the thing beneath Talia's veil. My girl from the mirror. There wasn't a face to remember because there wasn't a face to find. Black hair tendrilled across... Black hair... I can't say it. Black hair tendrilled across contourless meat. No futures to be seen. Only suggestions. Only smooth flesh and that grinning mouth. Those red lips stretched as far as they'd go. Black teeth and the smell of ink. I love that so much. I would have loved it if we had just focused on the terror of this ghost, the terror of this house. But instead we had so much of this being about the love lives of the main characters, essentially. And the awful banter that they have between them. Like, they were awful friends. Like, why were they even friends? Why would one of them even pay so much money to get them all to Japan? Because the guy paid first class tickets for them to go all the way to Japan for this whole haunted house malarkey. And I'm sorry, but I would not pay first class for anyone if I didn't actually like them. And it genuinely feels like none of them like each other in this. And, you know, you do get moments where they try and force emotion and care, but you just don't feel it at that point, because there was absolutely nothing before that that showed you how much they do care about one another. You know what I mean? It's like, I was so frustrated with it. I ended up giving this 1 star. It really, really wasn't for me. Although it is for me. This kind of story is for me. I just genuinely feel like novellas like this need to focus less on trying to build a backstory on characters we're not going to care about, and focus on the here and now, like what's happening in this moment. With novellas, you only get like a little snapshot into someone's life, because you only have like 100, 150 pages to convey that. So maybe cut a bit of that out. Cut it out and focus on what we're actually supposed to experience in this book. You have a limited number of words to use. Use them well. Unfortunately, I just don't feel like very many of the books I've read so far today have done that. The Pale House Devil, yeah, wastes a lot of words. Although saying that though, the Ballad of Black Tom I think is still like the best one so far. Definitely used its word count pretty well. So that's like the only exception so far. So 3 down now, and the ratings have been 3 star, 2 star, 1 star. Oh, that's actually kind of poetic. 3, 2, 1. So is Crossroads going to be a 0 or a 4? Or is it going to buck the trend and get a 5 star? At this point, I'm just praying for a miracle. So I've decided very, very last minute, and by last minute I mean literally 20 minutes ago, decided that I would do some Patreon reading sprints. And as you can see, just over here, we're going live in like 45 seconds. So we're literally down to the wire here. Literally so last minute. But I'm excited because I get to read Crossroads on some Patreon reading sprints, and I'm going to have such a good time. It's always a good time on Patreon. So if you would like to join Patreon, the link is down below. I have so many surprise reading sprints these days because I like to jump scare people and I love being cheeky. Oh my god, shall we go live together? Oh my god, 6 seconds, 6 seconds, fuck. I'm so nervous. Oh my god, I'm kidding. Let's go, go live, go live. Oh my god, little pit pat of my heart there. Hey, welcome in everyone. Hello. Thank you so much for coming by on such short notice. I love you all. Thank you. Thank you so much. I hope you've all been having a fantastic day today because I have been pretty good myself. So please do let me know what you guys have been up to, what you guys plan on reading. Well, actually so far, progress of my horror novella vlog, because that's what I'm doing at the minute. I'm filming a horror novella vlog. I've read 3 books, but one of them was a little bit secret because I was checking it out at the library yesterday, and I went to the library without knowing what I was going to get. So do you guys want to say it? Do you want to say the cheeky 4th one that I haven't told anyone that I got? Or did I? No, I don't think I did. I have one more to read, which is Crossroads by Laurel Hightower. So, yay. I love this group of people so much too. It's always so much nicer. Don't tell anyone on like public sprints. But like, it's so much nicer doing Patreon because it's like a lot more private. It feels a lot better, a bit more chill. I don't feel as anxious and stressed. So thank you. I love it. I love the community so much. We are awesome. We are awesome. So I've finished, but if you hear my cats making a lot of noise, it's because I decided to be little shits right now. I managed to finish Crossroads on my reading sprints, and I will say I actually found a novella in this vlog that I really like. I mean, one of the other ones that I read in this video was good, like it was decent, but like it just, none of the other ones blew me away. This one I feel was so well done. I love the exploration of grief as a theme, and I think that was tackled so beautifully in this, but while also creeping and grossing me out. And that's what I want in my horror novellas. This is the only one really that I've read in this vlog where I felt a bit grossed out, a bit creeped out. This one made me uncomfortable. The Ballad of Black Tom also made me feel uncomfortable. This one was like more in a really gross way. So as I've already mentioned, this one follows a woman who has lost her son, and she visits his memorial where he passed away, and she does accidentally get some blood on the soil, and it takes and she starts to see her son. I feel like, okay, the story isn't wholly unique. Like, I'm pretty sure there have been other stories exactly like that, but I think what this did well, that I've read anyway, is how it handled emotion. And with this being such a short novella too, I thought it really delivered when it needed to. So as I complained about in pretty much the other books, is that they tried to force me to care about characters I didn't really care about. Again, Ballad of Black Tom, I would say, is the outlier of the other 3. But say Nothing But Blackened Teeth and The Pale House Ghost, I feel like they really did try to force me to care about characters I just wouldn't care about. They kept telling me how I was supposed to feel and how these characters were acting, whereas in this one, I really felt the emotion, not just through the description or anything like that, but actually through the character's actions. Everything the character did was pretty much important to the plot and the story, whereas with the other ones like Nothing But Blackened Teeth, I don't need to know about your messy romantic history. None of that is relevant to the haunted house situation. Whereas this one, grief really did drive the narrative. It led to some really big questions of what we would do ourselves in grief. And I'm not somebody who has ever lost a child. I can imagine just how harrowing and soul-crushing that experience is. And I feel like Laurel Hightower really conveyed a lot of that. I don't think words will ever do justice the loss of a child, but I think this did a really good job at doing that. And just the way that grief kind of takes and takes and takes sometimes. I feel like it was done in such a like literal way in this book. Again, without spoilers, there is a literal like the way that grief breaks us down, right? And the way that it takes from us. I feel like this book delivered on that front. It was both beautiful and harrowing at the same time. And because it disturbed me so much, and I feel like it was more in line of what I was looking for in a horror novella, I will give this one a 4.5. I don't think for me it was a new favourite or anything like that, but it's definitely up there. Definitely the best book I've read in this vlog. I also switched to the audiobook of this so that I could make some tea, play with my cats, and also because the font size in this book is absolutely tiny. Is there any need? I don't think so. And the audiobook was good. The narrator was quite fast, so I had to slow her down to 1.8 speed. Usually I listen to audiobooks at like 2.5 speed. That's more my like comfortable range. But this one was a 1.8. I was like, hold your horses, love. Let's not let this be over so quickly. But this did scratch the horror novella itch that I desperately needed scratched. So these are the 4 books that I read in this video. There were a lot of really good suggestions in the comments of my spring TBR video. A lot of great comments, a lot of great recommendations on that video of horror novellas, so I will definitely check them out at some point. This is in order of how I preferred them. So Crossroads I thought was the best one with a 4.5. The Ballad of Black Tom I gave 3. The Pale House Devil was a 2, whereas Nothing But Blackened Teeth was the worst one in this vlog, and I gave it a 1 star. Or did I give it 1.5? Crap, I can't remember now. I literally only finished it and talked about it like 4 or 5 hours ago. Like, what's wrong with me? My brain is already trying to push it out, that's why. But yeah, I'm looking to do a little bit more horror and thriller vlogs in the future. I want to go back to my 2022 era to really feel alive again. I enjoy them so much, and I feel like I've neglected them because I sometimes end up saving them for my haunted location visits, which I can only do few and far between. So let's do that. Let's turn this shit around in 2024, which has so far been a very good year, and I hope it's been a great year for you too. I'm excited for the next horror and thriller that I end up reading. Oh, hiya, Ash! When did you appear? I love you, you know. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. You know what? This is the comfier computer chair that I got as a hand-me-down from my brother that Ash ended up stealing, so I let him have the chair. So then I ended up using this dining room chair, which is not very comfortable, but Ash got bored and sick of this chair, so now he's using that chair and I'm using this chair. It's the way it should be. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to leave this video a like if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you haven't already. Leave all the comments down below. Let me know if you've read any of the horror novellas I read in this vlog. Do you have any more recommendations? Tell me everything in the comments below. I want to give a huge thank you to my patrons for supporting my channel. If you'd like to join my Patreon, then the link is in the description. But yeah, I hope I will see you in the next video. Bye. Say bye, Ash. Bye bye. Bye bye.